Now we move to social psychology analysis level. There are three level of analysis of social psychology: societal, individual, and interpersonal level analysis. There are three. We are going to discuss three. The first one, which is societal level analysis. The goal of societal analysis, that means we are going to analyze the society. Why? To identify links between broad social forces and general patterns of social behaviors. So here is very important to analyze the society. Why? In order to understand the relationship between the powerful of this society or this social forces and what and the general patterns or of social behavior. What is the relation between the force of the society and the behavior? Social behavior, from this point of view, is explained by factors like what? Economic, hard times, class conflicts, for example. For example, if we have economic hard times like now, we have economic hard times that no the most of the business people are not working, most of the factories are not working, the capacity of working is less than it's now 25%, not 75, not exceeding than that. Not working full time, 100%. People are at home. Not all the people are working. Uh, uh, Class conflicts means what? The conflict among the class of the society. We know that we classify the society into three categories, mainly three categories: category A, category B, category C, according to the pyramid. At the base, category C; in the middle, yes, in the base, category C; in the middle, category B; and at the top of the pyramid is category A. This analytical approach is adopted by whom? Socialists, economists, and political scientists. Who use this approach or analyze the society? The sociologists, the economists, okay, and the political scientists. Why? Because in order to understand how they are going to deal with the people, because these are the three sides of the triangle: sociology, economic, political. These scholars or these scientists attempt or try to understand general patterns that the general behavior of the society, to understand what are the behavior of this society, such as homicide rates, voting behaviors, and consumer spending. See how these people have the knowledge of the importance of to vote, and how these people are consumers. Are they high consumers or medium consumers or low consumers? To study violence in urban areas, social scientists might identify relationships between rates of crime and factors such as poverty, immigration, or industrialization. If we are in a society and we find that there is violence in this society, we should refer to the factors that relate to relate to crime. What is the reasons behind the crime? Is it poverty? Is it immigration? That the immigration from another countries, or people with different attitudes, with different beliefs, with different traditions, and or it is due to industrialization, for example. So when we analyze the society in order to predict the future, to set plans, and who is concerned with that? The scientists in which field? In sociology, in economic, in political. These scientists or these scholars use social psychology in order to relate between, for example, a phenomenon like violence and what is the reason behind this violence. Is it poverty, for example, immigration, and so on. Now we move to the individual level analysis, that we analyze the individual himself or herself. This level of analysis is used by clinical and personality psychologists who explain behavior in terms of a person's unique personality characteristics and life history. We are dealing with the individual. We know the background of his history to understand his characteristics and to know how, in order, this will help us to predict how he will behave in the future. According to this point of view, with the help of personality traits, characteristics, or what different or values, or what differentiate between a person to another person, and motives, the motives that makes that person behave in a special way. The reasons of people's behavior can be explained. Accordingly, we can explain why this person is behaving in that way. Individual differences in childhood experiences, the background of the individual when he was a childhood, his ability, motivations, and personality are emphasized. At this level of analysis, violent crimes will be explained in terms of unique histories and characteristics of the criminal. Here, we are going to deal only with the individual. To understand the background of the individual, his characteristics, his traits, this will help us to understand why he behaved or why she behaved in this way. Finally, after we analyze society and individual, here we are going to analyze the interpersonal relationship. Here the social psychologists are going to analyze the relationship between the person and the society, or how the person is dealing with a social situation. So the focus of a social psychologist lies on a person's current social situation. The constituents of social situation are the other people, their attitudes and behavior, and the relationship to the individual. Okay? This emphasis is based on the idea, change the social context. Individual will change. Here we are dealing with what? If the social context, like for example, social context like family or colleagues on work, for example, will how, if you are as an individual, deal with that social context. For example, you are the daughter in a family, okay? The social context is what is the family, and you are the individual. So how you will behave within this social situation, which is the social context, which is the family. Here we is focusing on the idea of what if the social context change, the feelings or the thoughts or the behavior or the attitudes of this social context change, accordingly the individual change. So the main idea is here concerning with change the social context, individual will change. To understand the violent crime, social psychologists might consider the interpersonal relationships. That means that you are going to study the social situation or the social context that this individual deal with or raised within it, in order to understand why he is violent. Maybe because of the treatment of the bad treatment from the family. So accordingly, he is or she is violent. One social explanation suggests that frustrating situations make people angry and increase their tendency to act aggressively. If we, for example, raised in a social context on a family that they are always angry or they are nervous and so on, this is a frustrating situation. Accordingly, we know why the individual is behaving aggressively, because he is being raised in an environment not calm people, not normal. They are always nervous, they are always shouting, and this is where accordingly influenced his behavior. So here we emphasize or we focus on change of social context, individual will change. So here we emphasize on three level of analysis, which is the societal, the individual, and the interpersonal, the relationship between the individual and the society. Now we move to social psychology theories, and today we are going to take two theories. Now we're going to explain a shock experiment or a shock theory. Uh, the shock theory is found by Milgram in 1963. Among some of the most famous work in social psychology is that on obedience, obedience, to obey to the orders, to say yes to the orders. Conducted by Milgram, conducted means that found by Milgram in his electric shock study. He used the electric shock in his study, which looked at the role an authority figure plays in shaping behavior. Here, he make a relationship between the authority and the behavior. How the authority affect the behavior of the people. Participants were told that they were taking part in a study on learning, but always acted as the teacher. When the learner got the answer wrong, they were told by a scientist that they had to deliver an electric shock. This did not actually happen. Although the participant was unaware of this, as they had themselves a sample real shock at the start of the experiment. The teacher is the power, and the participants are the students. So if he says something wrong, we use the shock electric beat in order to see the relationship between the authority as the teacher and the students as a participant. And this is a horrible, horrible, really experiment. The second theory, which is Zimbardo, 1973. It was about prison experiment. Also, they make a simulation of conformity to given rules in the social world. Zimbardo's prison simulation notably demonstrated conformity to given rules in the social world. Volunteers took part in a simulation where they were randomly assigned the role of a prisoner or guard. The university basement resembling a prison environment, the basement downstairs in the university, they use it as a prison. The prisoners given a uniform and an identification number, they were therefore de-individuated. Prisoners became passive, whilst the guards assumed an active, brutal, and dominant role. So they divided the students into guards and prisoners, and they used the basement of the university as a prisoner. The prisoners are passive, they are not active, and the guards are active because they are the dominant. The study showed that conformity to social roles occurred as part of the social interaction, as both groups displayed more negative emotions and hostility uh, and sympathetic and dehumanization became apparent. Thank you, and this is for today.